Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Transformation Thursday. And in this episode, my guest is Naomi Thompson, and she is a dating and relationship coach, and she helps women rebalance from divorce and helping them with their dating lives. And she also coaches other dating coaches. So she's a dating expert, and one of the fun facts that she told me in the setup just now, that she is a secret fan of skinny dipping. And Naomi, welcome to have you here. I'm just yeah, curious. Who are you? Where you from? What do you do? And yeah, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bas. It's lovely to be here. Okay, yes, as you said, I'm a dating and relationship coach. I work with women to either attract or reconnect love. So I work with women who are dating for a committed relationship. Many women I work with are dating after divorce, which can be really tricky. We've got into old habits of the kind of guys we attract. And there are also people I work with who are in the situation where they're in a relationship, it doesn't feel great, it's not going well, but they still want to see if they can work it out. So yeah, that's who I work with, and I also train women who really want to be dating and relationship coaches as well, which is brilliant. I absolutely love it.
Okay. So, just to start very quickly, for people that might not watch this until the end, where could people reach you? Or, um,
Oh, okay. People, yeah, you can absolutely find me, naomithompson.com. You can see the way my name is spelt just there. I can't point to it. But yeah, naomithompson.com. You can find me there, YouTube, TikTok. I seem to have a big following on TikTok, Instagram. So yeah,
okay.
the usual places.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's dive into in like your turning points in life or in your career, and which one was like a real pivotal moment for you to um yeah, that made a difference in your life.
Yeah, I loved that whole subject of a pivotal moment. And for me, the theme with my work, and instantly what came up for me was how you can turn your heartbreaks into your happy ever after.
Hmm.
And obviously the work I do is around love and relationships, but actually this can be applied to anything. We're heartbroken from the end of a career, a business falling apart. But for me specifically, the pivotal moment for me was romantic heartbreak.
Hmm.
Hugely, my marriage kind of exploded dramatically and incredibly painfully, and I was incredibly heartbroken. And what that did, it catapulted me into learning about myself, and actually looking at myself in the mirror for the first time and going, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, when you have to dig deep and really feel a whole load of feelings that you would normally just want to run from, and to get through every day, whatever's been happening in your life, when you look at yourself in the mirror and see this person looking back at you that you actually feel quite proud of and quite in awe of, it's an
Hmm.
incredible moment. It's an incredible moment to look and go, you courageous woman, aren't you extraordinary? And with that comes a level of self-respect, self-love, that if you nurture it, grows, really grows. And then, real change can then happen.
Hmm. And what do you think it was for you that I mean, you could have chosen to like surrender or to give up or to be like, be the victim, however you want to describe it, but there was something for you that you know made you look at yourself. And what was that, like a specific moment or a specific experience that you could not escape that anymore, or you're like, this is the way to go?
Yeah, absolutely. And in that situation, when this awful experience was happening in my marriage, I asked myself, because I asked myself some questions.
Mhm.
And where I feel really fortunate is that I learned throughout my 20s to kind of start taking responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, what's my responsibility in this situation?
Mhm.
And also, to be honest, a mantra I have lived by for a lot of my life, from my early 20s, is there is gold in the shit.
Yeah.
Where is the gold in the shit? Because actually, if you really look, there is. So really, very quickly, I asked myself that. And I said, what can I be responsible for in the breakdown of my marriage? Not
Mhm.
how am I responsible for the whole lot, or how is he responsible for the whole lot, but what's my responsibility in that breakdown? And what that did, Bas, it just gave me that power to be able to reflect and grow. And yes, of course, at times I felt like a victim,
Mhm.
and of course, part of me bathed in that and enjoyed it for a while. But actually, the growth happened because I went, well, who am I being that had led us to this point? And actually, then, what can I do differently? What do I need to learn for that not to happen again?
Mhm. Yeah. And that's like this is something that I talk with my clients a lot as well. It's like, you're you're not necessarily 100% responsible for all that happened, but you are 100% responsible for how you deal with what is coming your way,
Yeah.
and whether that is, uh, as an example, in a cheating partner, or maybe you're the one cheating, or like it just the relationship just died, and you can't go back anymore. But at the end, it's like, yeah, that's you have full responsibility. And I don't, how is that for you? Like, that you could not, like, and I really like how you said, where's the gold in the shit? uh, uh, but how, I'm sure it was not always easy to take on that 100% responsibility.
No, no, not at all, not at all. And there were many times I really didn't,
Hmm.
and I allowed myself to get into that blaming. I would say where you can go from, where how heartbreak can be the catalyst or the thing that propels you to really get what you want, is awareness, like being aware.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm aware. I remember, because it was my husband was unfaithful, and I
Hmm.
remember a time when I did, I knew the woman that he'd had an affair with, and there were times I felt like the bully girl in the playground. I just wanted to push her over and have everyone laugh. And I
Hmm.
liked the fact that everybody kind of felt for me, and they were like, how could they do that? How could he do that to Naomi? So there was part of me that enjoyed that. But while I was aware it was happening. And I remember going, Naomi, you can do this right now, but you can't do this forever.
No.
Because for me, I knew what I wanted. And I knew I wanted a really loving, committed relationship that I felt safe in.
Hmm.
And actually, I knew, and that's where I would say you can go from that heartbreak to happy ever after, because you can say, when these explosive moments happen in your life, like I felt like when this happened, I felt like I was a piece of glass that just shattered into a million pieces. But then everything started landing, and landing slightly differently.
Hmm.
And we got a choice at this point. We can go, okay, I'm going to be angry and mistrustful, resentful, and a victim
Hmm.
of life, of people, or I am going to grow into something different. And actually, I remember saying to my husband, I said, I want an amazing connected, beautiful relationship. I hope it's with you.
Mhm.
And if it isn't, it will be with someone else. And I knew that deep inside, because what he'd shown me is that I wasn't happy with what we had either, deeply unhappy. So as a pivotal moment, it propelled me to actually look for what I really wanted.
Mhm.
And I would say someone can do that, with their career, with their, some people say rejection is God's protection. Whether you believe in God or not, it doesn't matter. Just as a symbol, is life's protection. And in many ways, if we choose to see it like that, and that's why I said about awareness, for me and the people I work with, it's like, what's the most powerful way I can choose to see this situation? What's going to serve me the most?
So, yeah, if you could turn back time, would you rather like continue what you had, or gone through this struggle and get this experience? Would you be willing to give up this experience?
I wouldn't be willing to give up. It's a good question. I wouldn't be willing to give up the transformation that happened. I mean, I wouldn't be in the job I'm in now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I remember going through the pain and seeing what I was learning and seeing the direction I was going in, because, I ran my parents' business before this. I sat in an office 9 to 5. I didn't do what I was doing. So I wouldn't give that up. I wouldn't wish infidelity on anyone. It's agonizing. So if anyone's going through that, I feel for you. I really do. It's so painful. But I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change it, because I'm happier. I'm in a wonderful relationship. I have a wonderful career. Life is varied, and I like the woman in the mirror a lot more.
Yeah, I get that. So, rephrasing the question, could you have learned the same thing without infidelity?
Probably, but slowly, I'd say.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'd slowly. There's something about when the shit hits the fan, we just, there's that rapid change, isn't there? There's that rapid growth. I would say I may have been got there, but a lot more slowly. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes these things can be like a wake up call, or like a really like an earthquake, and be, yeah, you make different drastic choices, which then in hindsight, give you the freedom and the transformation that you've kind of been wanting for a long time, but didn't dare to speak out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. I totally get that. And sometimes I wonder whether or not without that we can get there. We'll get somewhere else, but I think, life propels you in a direction. It's like when people have, a huge health crisis or financial crisis. It's like there's a survival instinct that kicks in, that doesn't have to kick in when life is fine. When life is pottering along, even if there's a low level of suffering that we've got used to. And I would say many people, one of the things, because I do work with a lot of women who are dating after divorce, a lot of women dating after divorce, I hear them say, oh yeah, but I'm just happier single. Yeah, it's easier. I don't have to tidy up after anyone or clear up after anyone. What I'm hearing there is that, yes, you don't have to be in a relationship to be happy. However, we're built to be in relationship, and it's easy to tell ourselves that we're fine, that we don't need it, we don't want it. Whereas what can then happen is that we are just living with a level of loneliness that we've got used to. We've learned how to kind of cope with situations, but when it's not fabulous, it's just all right. And I think what what can come from those pivotal moments that you were talking about is fabulous.
Yeah. I mean, when you were talking about that, I've been I've been telling myself that's similar stories, saying, "Oh, life is great by myself," and uh, I'm very independent, and um, yeah, I'll do whatever I want. I don't have to share my house with anyone, and let's say I have so much freedom. But what I wasn't really telling myself was that I didn't see it like possible for me, to be in a committed relationship. Love was for other people, real love was for other people, and uh, yeah, that would never that wouldn't just be available for me, and but that was really the thing that I was like believing or telling myself, and I made this story up. I'm so great by myself, and I was, it's not that I
Mm.
was unhappy, but the daring to admit to myself to be wanting in a loving and committed relationship was yeah, that took something, and that led to now being in a very loving and committed relationship, by letting that story go and completing that story, um, which yeah, I'm of course very, very happy about. um, and I'm very happy that I turned that story around, because otherwise I would still be living in the old story, which is not serving me at all.
Yes.
So like the work you do with your clients, like women coming out of divorce, I mean, that can come in many forms, but I heard you talk about like some of these women have been in long, long relationships, and now they enter in a completely new, different era of virtual dating and apps, and the last time they were on a date was maybe 30 years ago or something. How how do you, help them make that transformation?
I take women through the process I went through. And in if anyone wants to find out, that I have a waiting list for my program, Effortless Feminine Dating. So you can go to my website. There's nothing to click on for a waiting list, but just drop me an email and I can add you. But I take women through a process, and really it's the process I went through, because I needed to understand how to date.
Hmm.
And one of the things I found when I've spoken to women about the challenges that they have, it's, what on earth do I do? Women say, I met my husband when I was in my 20s at a party. I didn't online date. I'm coming up to 50 now. No one from my generation who met their husbands in their 20s did any online dating, because it didn't exist. So it's
Hmm.
like you come out of a marriage kind of shell-shocked, and it's like, what on earth do I do? What do I say to men? What are you meant to do? So actually, I take women through the nuts and bolts of how to date, but also how to date in a way that's effortless, because so many women say, it's exhausting. I get burnt out. I haven't got time to be answering all the messages and going on long dates with guys and spending evenings with people that I just am not attracted to. But also, so there is really the nuts and bolts of how to do it.
Hmm.
Also, Bas, if you get to a certain age, you are coming through your 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe you've been married or you've not been married yet, and you are not and never have been in the kind of relationship you want, then there is a certain sort of thing to admit, which is, actually, maybe you don't know your type. Maybe you actually didn't grow up knowing how to choose the right partner for you.
Hmm.
And there is like something else driving you that is having you meet the same kind of guys again and again and again.
Hmm.
And actually, what it is, sometimes there is a certain amount of deeper work to shift those patterns and blocks. And dating is an incredible process for that, because you meet so many different people. And one of the most common is people say, I just didn't feel a spark when I met him, so I said no to a second date. They're looking for their nervous system being activated and excited. I didn't feel the chemistry, so I said no to another date. If they're a client of mine, I say, was he kind? Was he considerate? Did he make you feel comfortable? Yes, yes, yes. Meet him again.
Yeah.
The amount of women I have coached, by the end of our 3 months of coaching together, they are regularly and consistently dating someone they thought they had no chemistry with. And the magic thing happens when you meet someone and there isn't that, there aren't those sparks, but they're really damn great human being.
Yes.
Interesting, you have fun with them, they're consistent, loving, solid. Then they kiss you and it feels good. And then the intimacy is good and the chemistry builds, and then you've struck gold.
Yeah.
So it's a process for a woman to give up chasing the high, chasing the, he's the one, and actually letting that unfold.
Yeah. So one of the things that I did in like transforming my my perspective to like a relationship was in all like in some of the relationships I was always looking for why it wasn't working, and like over and over and over again. And of course, if that's what you look for, that's what you will find. But when I started to look for what was working and what I liked, and what I where we could meet on common grounds, things really started to shift. You have like the two circles that overlap, and you can only meet in that middle part. And we're so consumed about the rest of the circle. But if you can focus on that like middle part, then that's where the magic happens. And whether that is like let's say we'd love to go to the cinema, and he loves that too. That's like in the common part. But if I want to go to the cinema and he doesn't, then I can like fight and do whatever and like work hard, and okay, maybe I'll get him to come with me to the cinema like once, but that's such a waste of like energy. Go with someone else, or just be with, like, how shall I say, see what you can do together, and then expand on that. And then things become so much easier and so much more in flow. And it was a really big game changer for me.
Yeah, I love that. It's the compatibility over chemistry.
Yeah.
And let the chemistry grow, because there can be chemistry and no compatibility grows, but it's much more likely the other way around. And there's something, something about what you were saying is that, me and my ex-husband, we look back and we get on great now, and we'll laugh about the fact that we want such different things. But at the time, I was wanting to make him into what I wanted.
Yes.
And there's something really powerful about hearing a person's no, even when they don't say no. How is he saying no to the relationship I wanted? One of the very, very first things I do when I work with someone is actually get them to own up to their dream, like really own up. You said this earlier, when I finally admitted to myself what I really wanted. And I get a woman to really own up to what she wants on quite a deep level, like how she wants to feel in a relationship. Because quite a lot of the time when we first start, thinking about what do I want someone who's intelligent, maybe university educated. I'd like this, I'd like this, I'd like this. He has to be well-traveled, blah, blah, blah. Actually, when you dig really deep into how do I want to feel with that person, pretty much every single woman says to me, when we really dig down, safe, loved. peaceful. No woman has ever said, I want to feel really excited all the time. Really turned on to him all the time. No, because the turn on comes with that connection, when a woman feels really safe and loved and peaceful. And really, those are the main things. And when you know really deeply what it is you want in a relationship, your whole radar you want changes. Even if a woman is in a relationship already, connecting with what she really wants, and then getting real about the relationship in front of her.
Yeah.
It's like, am I going to the hardware store every day trying to buy bread? I can turn up at the hardware store. I can be the nicest customer in the world. I can be friendly, smiley, sweet, wonderful. Unless they really want to turn into a bakery just for me, I'm just going to be showing up and buying hardware. I'm not going to walk away with bread. And that is what we do. And that's what I did in my marriage. I was going to a man who actually, he doesn't want that kind of connection to get that connection that I wanted.
Yeah.
A pivotal moment for women when they go, oh my goodness, he's not actually doing anything wrong and I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just wanting something from him that actually he's just not willing or able to give. I'm knocking at the wrong door and showing up at that hardware store and leaving with hammers and nails and never getting the nourishment that I'm looking for. So it's how then do I shift my radar that I can be actually attracting people who can give me what I need, which is that feeling of, the commitment. If a woman just loves and needs affection, she needs a man who's affectionate. She can't date a cold fish. I mean, she just can't. She'll never be happy.
So, do you think it's different for men?
Do I think it's no? I don't think it's different for men. I think again, you need, when you know what it is you really need as a person, rather than focusing on the other person, it's like, what is it I need? And also, but personally, I wouldn't say it's different. I'd say some of the dating dynamics could be different.
Yeah.
But also, no, I would just say when it comes to it, the first focus is, what is it I want? What is it I need? For me, I'm a very, very sensitive person. I'm sensitive to people's feelings. I'm sensitive to touch. I'm emotionally sensitive. I can pick up energy. I'm very sensitive. So instead of, what I used to do is think, oh, I should just toughen up. Whereas now I'm like, well, I just need a partner who's very loving, patient, and kind. So I have to be responsible for my sensitivity, but actually also I need to choose someone who's very loving and kind, So yes, whether it's men or women, I think, we need to know what we need.
Okay, good. So, like, one of the things we also talk in this LinkedIn Live is about change and how you deal with change, how you resist change, how you then let's say put a strategy in place that you deal with change, that it works for you. And I mean, like anything in life, a relationship is changing constantly as well, so what are your strategies around change?
That's a good question. When change is happening, I get quite excited. So I have ADHD, so I love new things. I love shininess and newness. I love the first night in a new house. I haven't moved house for a very, very long time. My kids grew up in this house, but before that we moved a lot. I loved the change. I love waking up in a new house. I love the newness of it all. I would say, relationship wise, though, I used to very much resist change, but I would say there can be different reasons. Sometimes we hang on to something And I know I hung on to that relationship because I was afraid of the unknown. And I didn't trust myself to be okay with the unknown. And I'd say relationships are one of those places where we feel most vulnerable. And, you know, we can feel like being in a relationship, even if it's not a great one, makes me feel like I am worthy of loving and I am lovable and socially it's acceptable and all of those things that we feel, and so much of our identity can be bound up in it. So there, I would say I was very resistant to change. I wanted to hang on to that relationship for as long as I could until I grew. So I would say it's changed for me as I've grown as a person. And I'm much more open to change now than I was. You know, I used to struggle more with relational change, but now I think, yeah, I see it as an opportunity and I see it as something exciting. I mean, the way I would say it's tricky is learning new things. And I learned that the phrase when I was doing a training called conscious incompetence. They were saying in this training, and I'd say it's a learning anything new. It's like we get to a point in our lives where we're very good at what we do. We're competent at most things. But when we are conscious of our incompetence at something, I'm conscious that I'm not good at this, then that is where I can get very resistant to change. And I just want to go back to what I already know.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah, it does. Yeah. And especially is like, yeah, what I notice around like competence is like a lot of people, they'll just say, you know, I don't know how to do this, or you know, or they're resisting like the change because it's the unknown. And then they look at other people that have done, let's say, the work, the training, and they're practicing like or they've been practicing that for a very long time, and that's why they became experienced and why they seem so, let's say, confident. But it's really because they've done the work that you, me have not done yet in that instance. And then we're like, oh, we're so incompetent and we'll never have the competence. But it is really like keep showing up and keep doing the work, keep practicing, and then that incompetence will disappear. You know, if you, like with every action you make a small improvement, it's like, yeah, the 100th time you do it will be so much different than the first time. And that's yeah.
Do you know what? I love that. And that is exactly what happens with the women I work with who are dating. They come and there's that resistance to dating. They're wanting to give up. They're like, you know, it's too difficult. And actually, I don't want anyone to become an expert on being online dating. I don't think there needs to be a certain point you just go, right. But what I love is when a woman goes from not wanting to date, but still just showing up, getting triggered, practicing her tools to get untriggered and unstuck, feeling her way through it, meeting different people. And then when she gets to the point and we're on a call and she knows it's only a matter of time now.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. She's got in the swing of it, of going on dates and meeting people and being curious and being open. And she knows it's a matter of time because the relationship she wants is so clear in her mind. And I always say to women, the relationship you want is the prize. The relationship you want is your North Star. That hot guy that you met yesterday isn't the prize. He isn't the North Star, the thing you're aiming for. What you're aiming for is that relationship that you want and that feeling of safety and peace and, you know, and feeling loved.
Yeah. This makes me think of like um, is it like, yeah, the price versus the day tomorrow or today. It's like it's kind of like the instant gratification that you get today or tomorrow, but that's like you have to, well, have to, yeah, get yourself beyond like seeing yourself as I don't know, more or bigger than that instant gratification. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you're in it for the long game.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you can do like instant gratification and another one and another one and another one and another one, but that really doesn't give you the, let's say, the growth or the thing that you want to go through. You need indeed that North Star, and you need these moments to get there as well.
Exactly. A dear friend of mine really inspired me, and she was in her 40s. She'd never been married, never lived with a partner, and she said to me, "Naomi, even if it doesn't happen till I'm 82, I know it's going to happen."
Okay.
She was so clear about the relationship she wanted, and we had many conversations. She said, "I know, and I'm just going to keep showing up." And she's married, and it's wonderful, but it's it's just that keeping your eyes on the prize, even when you've got no evidence of it in front of you. That takes something remarkable, but I see women doing it all the time, and something shifts in their energy. They become more confident, they feel more powerful, they're less needy, they're less kind of grasping onto any relationship that comes along, because actually the relationship they want is so clear inside of them, and it's not the superficial stuff that he's got to do this and he needs to do this, and if he doesn't do this, he's out. It's actually, what are my deep core needs?
Yeah.
How can a relationship meet them? The man can't meet those needs, but the relationship we create together can meet those needs.
Yeah, and by that I also hear like if you're like your North Star is so clear, you get you are you have power, or you're empowered, and you have the also the strength to be, let's say, patient, and be like, okay, this is like, I might have to take another step, or it's just like I know it will come, and I'm doing all the work or all the actions, and yeah, a great story about your friend.
I
It will
know.
happen when I'm 82. I know.
I know.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Amazing.
So can I ask you how you went then from going, I'm fine single, then to actually transitioning through and then being in a committed relationship?
So like that's my journey, and my let's say my personal development journey, and I've done a lot of things. I looked at my career, and I made a major change there, I restored. I worked on the relationship with my father, um, and that's just like so much better. I really took on a health journey as well, where I mean, I've always been doing sports, but I took that to a whole other level in CrossFit, and doing participating in CrossFit games, uh, and I was also like looking at nutrition, and then this relationship thing was still a bit like I couldn't make a difference there for myself, and I was like, okay, why is that? Why do I pretend, or why do I keep telling myself that that's okay, or that that is all there is for me? And then I really, yeah, I started to look, and I started to see how inauthentic I was about it, and how should I say, I had a lot of instant gratification. I was basically running from one guy to the next, and a lot of like quick, quick sex, and it wasn't working. It really wasn't working. And I was like, I don't want this anymore. I really don't want this. It's like basically, it was like, how shall I say, like yeah, you tell yourself you want to try. It was an addiction almost, you know. You meet someone, and by the moment you leave, you're like, oh, who's the next? Where's the next one? You know, oh, let's go online. Let's see. Oh, there's another one. And then and it was really not like it was really not what I wanted. And I was also like, you need to change your um your limiting beliefs around yourself. That really question why you think that love is only for other people, and when other people say that they have real love, that they're just liars. You know, that's how I would look at them. It's like they're so like they're just like imposters. You know, they can't be true. It's not true. They're just like it's fake. You know, there must be shit. You know, it's like they'll get a divorce. You know, it's
Yeah.
really like it's just like so nasty, you know, to to look at your friends or the people in your life like that, and then but that was just how do I say that? That was just me not willing to look at myself, and
Mm.
just starting pointing my fingers at other people, um, which wasn't serving me. So I really needed to go like inside and look and see what I can do different.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah, we see that we find the evidence we look for, don't we? In whatever it is, and in interpretation, I'd say is one of the most powerful ways of like going from turning heartbreak into what you want. Is like, what did I make it mean about me?
yes.
If your business has failed, if your relationship has failed, if your partner's been unfaithful, what am I making it mean about me? I remember my husband saying something like it wasn't, or someone said to me, Naomi, it won't have been anything to do with you. Doesn't mean that I didn't have my part to play in our relationship being a bit crap at that time. But actually, and I believe he said that it wasn't about you, Naomi. And I remember going, oh gosh, he's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing that, I mean, I went through a process when to turn my heartbreak into something a lot more powerful. Firstly, it was feeling everything,
Mm-hmm.
like feeling everything. I was a master at numbing out feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings were too terrifying to go to. I didn't even know I was doing it until I realized how terrified I was of actually feeling the stuff. But when, as we said, the shit hits the fan, you can't help but feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, I just remember everything in me that just wanted to keep control was just fighting like crazy, going, control this situation. And I remember seeing a meme or something, and it was just a woman just laying on a bed, and it said on it, relax, nothing is under control. And that was like my mantra. I used to just lay there and go, nothing's under control, Naomi. It's just feel it, just feel those feelings, and see if you can just sit with discomfort and then let it pass, rather than fighting it, because the fight becomes the thing that is the painful thing and the hard work. And the next thing I had to learn was how to let down all that armor.
Mm-hmm.
All the armor, because I very much believe we meet someone who is a match for us for where we're at inside. And I think people get upset with that when we have judgments about people. If we go, oh, I'm always attracting losers, and someone says, well, who you're attracting is a mirror for what's going on inside of you, they go, well, you saying I'm a loser? No, that loser is just a judgment. But if you're regularly attracted to and attracting emotionally unavailable human beings to you,
Mm-hmm.
there is going to be, the most powerful way you can see it is that there is a part of you that is emotionally unavailable.
Yes.
And that is the most powerful way to see it. And actually just letting down the armor of being a bit tougher. I was that armored girl for sure. It was like I was saying to love, come close to me, get to know me, get past all the boundaries and the barriers and everything, but only come this close, because this is as close as I can handle.
Yes.
But please see past the walls.
Yeah.
They're really thick and high, but I'm lovely underneath that wall, but only don't come any further than the wall, just peek over. So it was this constant feeling of push, pull, push, pull.
Yeah.
So I had to let down my armor to be able to feel vulnerable, and let people just see vulnerability and realize that actually vulnerability can be strength. I see it like armor, like I see it like, you think of an egg, like a raw egg.
Yeah.
You know, many women, and maybe many men too, but I suppose my work so much with women, I'm focused into that. We learn how to be strong on the outside. We learn how to be strong on the outside because inside we have this vulnerability that we struggle with. It feels like inside it's weak, insecure, vulnerable, whatever, unlovable, whatever belief we have.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to keep that shell on the outside, because we break in a raw egg, it's just insubstantial. And an egg is fragile.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to keep that armor strong because I can't let anyone see what's inside. What I learned to do, and what I do every day with my clients, is teach people how to be strong on the inside. And with women, I use the analogy of a peach.
Yeah.
So like when you're strong on the outside, you're not going to attract someone who wants to get really close to you. You're going to attract someone who only wants this close.
Yeah.
The peach has a strong seed on the inside, and on the outside, it's tender and soft and appealing and juicy. It's also vulnerable. Peaches have to be packed one by one. They're not.
Yeah.
Like, however, when you wear your strength on the inside, you don't have to wear the armor on the outside. And that is a huge shift there.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I mean, the wall you built for yourself, yeah, I mean, it limits people coming to you, but it also limits you going outside. And we tell ourselves we go way beyond that wall, but we don't, you know. And that's yeah. Okay. Now let's take it a step, like let's take it to the future. You know, what are you creating for your future in your business, in your relationship? What's the future for Naomi?
Okay, wow, that's a really lovely question. Okay, so the future for me, business-wise, I've been working one-to-one with clients for years. And I also train coaches, and continue to do both those things. But I'm also creating programs for more women to participate in. And I have so many ideas that are pinging around my head. And the one I'm working on at the moment is really the process the 3-month process I take my one-to-one clients through, which is dating. Effortless feminine dating, and effortless because dating can be effortless, depending on how you approach it and your mindset. So really, this is for women who are really ready for something different. It's for women who can see that they are in a groove of attracting a certain kind of guy. They are drawn to a certain kind of guy. The relationships end up going the same kind of way, and they're done with it and they want something different. They're ready to grow. They're coachable, and they are willing to put themselves out there and date. So I think those things are really important, because if someone's stuck and going, no, I don't want to do this, don't want to grow, don't want to do the deeper work, it's just not going to work. You're going to get more of the same. And so, I know that when I was dating, I really wanted to, I struggled with all the messaging. It was like, oh my God, you're messaging for weeks and then not actually meeting. So it's like, exactly, simple ways to go from messaging to dates. how to date where it's not exhausting, what to say to guys to set your boundaries in a way that's warm and kind, but clear, how to talk about your needs and desires in a way that invites a man or a woman, depending, but invites the man to actually step up and meet those needs. Or if he's the wrong kind of guy, you filter him out. So that's where the process becomes effortless. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, and offering this as a group program to work with a group of women through.
Okay. So what would be like a giveaway from you to like get from messaging, like endless messaging, to dating? What is your golden tip for that?
Okay, great. Well, I would say a very, very simple script you can just say to a guy is to say, I feel so much better speaking than messaging. What do you think? Just tell them how you feel. I remember texting guys and I'd just say, I just get a bit burned out messaging. I just love faces and voices. What do you think about that? And I would find guys would immediately say, yeah, great. Oh God, that's great. Because a lot of guys think that they don't want to be pushy.
Yeah.
They don't want to be pushy. They want a woman to take the lead with this. And my coaching is definitely for women. If you want to feel cherished and courted and loved, let a man lead. Of course you can, come up with ideas and so on, but let him ask you out. Let him, to lead that, because it just feels so much better. But also just let him know that it's okay to pick up the phone. Okay. Give him that invitation. So I would say that. I mean, I used to say things like that, all sorts of just things like that. I'm thinking if there's another script you can use. I would say those are probably the best two I used. And
yeah, and it's also like kind of asking like for what you want. It's like, it's like a little bit like, I mean, it's not very direct, but it is kind of saying what you want. You want to have like a real connection with someone, a real in-person conversation. And that's kind of what you're saying. And you just ask what the other person thinks about it. And then that opens that conversation.
Exactly, because then women have said to me, oh, I've said that to him and he just keeps messaging me. And I say, well, just don't message back. Or just let him know. Just say, endless messaging isn't for me.
Yeah.
It feels like we're not on the same page. Because that is another way to filter out guys who are really not right. If a guy is serious about you, he is going to take up that invitation. He's going to pick up the phone. He's going to ask you out. You're not going to have to fight for his communication and his attention. He's going to want to. But I say to women, you need to invite it. You can't just be this closed book and hope he's going to guess. You need to invite it and let him know that you are open and you're up for speaking.
Yeah. I see a message coming in from Dylan. He's saying messaging can be very exhausting. And it definitely can be. I've been there, and I get that you've been there in a certain moment as well, Naomi. Okay, I mean, I'd love talking to you, and I think I can talk to you for forever. I really love the conversation. I love the insight that you shared, and your vulnerability as well. I really appreciate it, sharing your stories and some insights out of the work you did with your clients. If people want to reach out to you, what is the best way? You mentioned you had a waiting list. How maybe you can tell a little bit more how that will work. You're now free to make as much promotion as you like.
Yeah, so basically, if people go to naomithompson.com or wherever you're watching, send me a DM and just let me know what you're looking for. Obviously, I I do one-to-one coaching where I kind of hold your hand every week, and we're on WhatsApp, and I'm right there for you. My clients send me screenshots of their dating app going, what do I say to him? So, you know, I can be right there by your side. But also, if you want to join my Effortless Feminine Dating program, I will be putting up a link to a wait list on my site. It isn't there right now, but drop me a DM or send me an email through my website, and I will absolutely get back in touch with you and put you on the wait list. I'm looking to start that in the first week of October.
Okay. Good.
So, yeah.
And if people will want to work one-on-one with you, you do like an introduction call or something. How would that work?
Yeah, you can book a discovery call right from my website. I also have a free audio training. So on the first page of my website, there's a button you can just click and get a free audio training from me. So that kind of gets you started with the kind of work I do. Gets a real feel for the kind of work I do and my methodology. So please do go and get that.
Okay. Well, Naomi, thank you so much for being here. It really was a pleasure talking to you. I would also like to thank the audience for watching. I'll be back here next week with another guest, and then we'll talk about making a difference on LinkedIn. Having a LinkedIn expert here. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bas. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Naomi.